We are deep diving into the houses in our birth chart, in our astrology, and understanding why they are so important to relating to others. Because the houses in our birth chart determine our lens, our view, our vibe, our perspective on our world.
You're listening to the Relational Astrology Podcast, where we use the powerful tool of astrology to transform relationships in every area of your life: romantic, personal, professional, and beyond. This isn't your typical astrology podcast, and you don't need to be an astro expert to join in. Get ready for real life examples, practical tips, and tools you can start using right away to strengthen your connections. Ready to improve the relationships in your life? Grab your birth chart and let's dive in.
Imagine you're in a relationship and you're about to go on your very first vacation together. You've picked the destination and now it's time for you to book a hotel. Your partner is insistent on booking one of those mid-level, mid-tier hotels. They figure you're not really going to be in the room a lot anyway, so why spend a bunch of money? However, you have been eyeing up that luxurious wellness resort that is so Instagrammable that you have to go there. And you argue back and forth until you decide, you know what, we're not going to come to a conclusion. Let's put it on the back burner. A couple days later, you revisit this fun, exciting vacation idea and you decide, well, we should at least book our flights. And so you are looking up flights, and here we go again. Your partner is insistent on sitting in economy. They don't understand why anyone would pay so much money for a short 5-hour flight. This thought alone makes your skin crawl. The thought of sitting in a cramped little chair in the back of the plane for 5 hours makes you want to literally crawl out of your skin. You will pay whatever amount of money to get up to premium economy. And so again, you're arguing back and forth. And so it goes for the entire vacation. You're wondering, why does this person want to be so frugal and save all of their pennies when you're supposed to have fun and go on a vacation? Or maybe this has happened on a girls' trip. You've planned a trip with the girls, you're so excited, and yet everyone has a different idea on what everyone should spend their money on and what to do that would be fun. Or maybe in your family, you get together with certain members and they have such a different political belief than you, or they have such different perspectives on life that you think, how could we even be from the same family? If any of these scenarios have happened to you, then this episode is going to blow your mind, because we are deep diving into the houses in our birth chart, in our astrology, and understanding why they are so important to relating to others. Because the houses in our birth chart determine our lens, our view, our vibe, our perspective on our world. And so if you meet someone who has a different energy, a different zodiac sign in, for instance, their money house, they're going to see money and their budget and their finances in a different light, under a different influence than you. We are going to have so much fun in today's episode, so buckle up, get ready. Also remember that astrology is layered, it's complex, it's deep. So we are just going to do an overview today. And if you love today's episode, make sure you come back, because we will do a deep dive into all 12 houses in your birth chart, and more specifically, how they relate to the relationships in your life. Because of course, I am the relational astrologer after all. If you're new here and this is the first episode you're catching on the Relational Astrology Podcast, welcome in to our Astro family. I'm Mandy Rose. I have such a passion and a mission to help everyone understand not only their own unique blueprint, their birth chart, but also the charts of the people around them. That way we give people grace and patience and understanding. We understand who someone is, who we are, and how we can blend our energies and harmonize to have better relationships. And of course, we have some episodes where we talk about the current cosmic weather, so we can give the people around us some grace if they're acting crazy. So today's episode is going to be, like I said, so much fun. I do have a PDF that you can follow along with as well, a free PDF that I'm giving away to anyone who reviews the podcast or shouts it out on their social media. I'll talk more about how to take advantage of that and get this PDF at the end of the episode. But if you want to grab it before you tune in, all you have to do is screenshot the review that you leave. Or if you're shouting it out on social media, send me a screenshot at therelationalastrologer@gmail.com. You can find all that information in the show notes. grab that PDF and you can take notes as we dive through this episode. Now, what I would recommend is having your birth chart handy as we go through this episode. If you have it on one of those apps like CoStar or the Pattern, it may not be accurate. So I'm going to recommend that you go to the video I linked in the description box and I walk you through step by step how I want you to pull up your chart. I practice whole sign systems, and a lot of those apps do not use that mathematical equation at pulling up your chart. So you might get a little confused. Whole sign systems I have found in my practice to be the most accurate and the easiest to understand. So go pull up your chart using my formula, following along in that video. Now, when we're talking about the houses in our birth chart, let's do a little astrology one-on-one. If you're new to this concept and you're new to astrology, our houses in our birth chart are those little pie pieces that you see. Your chart is broken up into 12 sections, what we call houses. The reason we have 12 pie pieces or 12 houses is because we have 12 zodiac signs. And each zodiac sign needs a house. And the zodiac signs, remember, are energies, their lenses, their vibes, their perspectives. And so at the moment of your first breath, at the moment you were born, we look at the constellation that was coming up in the eastern horizon, aka your rising sign, and we take that rising sign, that zodiac sign, and we put it into house number 1. Now, automatically, you view life in the first house, aka the areas of life that are contained within that first house, through that zodiac lens, your rising sign. And then all the constellations follow suit. The constellation that comes after your rising sign goes in house number 2, then house number 3, and all the way around the chart. Now, fun fact, the chart has 360 degrees. So it is a wheel, it is the sky, it is a circle. And if we take 360 and divide it by the 12 zodiac signs, that leaves us with 30 degrees for each zodiac sign. So when you're looking at your chart, and you see the symbol for Venus, for example, it looks like the feminine symbol, you'll see a little number there. That number indicates how far Venus was into her journey within that zodiac sign at the moment of your birth. So for example, you might see the number 20 after Venus. That means Venus was at 20 degrees of that particular zodiac sign. And we'll have a whole nother episode going into degrees. So again, astrology is layered and it is complex. We are going to stay on topic with the houses. So 12 houses. Each house symbolizes and relates to different areas of your life. That's what we're breaking down today. The relationships within each of your house and why our houses determine our lens, our view, our vibe, our perspective on our life. If you do not know your time of birth, it may be challenging to follow along with today's episode because our horoscope, horo meaning hour, is determined by the time of our birth. If you don't know it and you want some help, I do one-on-one sessions called rectification charts where we narrow down and determine what your rising sign was. This is so monumental for my astrology family members who don't know the time that they were born but want to follow along with astrology. So we can dive in if you need some help with that. But as you're looking at your chart in this episode, we are going to talk about how these zodiac signs are different colored glasses or lenses that you are viewing each of these areas of life through. And so if you are relating to someone or in a relationship with someone who has a different rising sign than you, they're going to have a different energy, different zodiac sign in each one of the houses. So of course they're going to look at money differently than you because they're putting on a different colored glasses when they're looking at their money house, which is our second house. Or maybe what you desire and need energetically within a partnership to be vulnerable and to be intimate with somebody looks different to you than it does to your partner because you have a different zodiac sign in your 8th house. Or when you're dealing with your family, they have a different zodiac sign in their 9th house, which is their belief systems, their philosophy, their perspective. So this is why it is so important to understand the houses and the zodiac influence each one is under when you're in relationships. So by the end of this episode, it's going to make so much more sense. So grab your birth chart, grab that PDF if you got your free copy. and let's dive into the houses in our birth chart and how they impact our relationships. Now, as we jump into the houses, I'm going to take a sip of my Astro tea. If you have a tea or a beverage, go ahead and take a sip. Today, I am sipping the Capricorn blend, which is Moroccan mint tea and rosemary. It's got horsetail in it because Capricorn rules the bones. The reason that I picked this blend today is because as we are talking about the houses, there's a lot of systems and structures and rules, and Capricorn loves some good systems. So it just seemed really fitting, and I love the mint and rosemary combination. So take a sip, and then we'll dive into the houses and how they impact our relationships. So we are starting out with house number 1. House number 1 is your rising sign. The moment of your birth, the constellation that was coming up on the eastern horizon automatically gets plopped into your first house. And this is how I think of the first house. It is you, your needs, your wants, your desires. So the relationship of the first house is the relationship you have to yourself. In astrology, we're souls. We come to Earth School to drive around Earth School and master lessons and accomplish our North Node and all the things we're here to do on Earth School to contribute to the collective. But when we come to Earth School, we got to pick a vehicle to drive around in, our vessel, our body, our physical form. So you take your first breath and you enter into your first house. Your vessel, your vehicle, the presentation of who you are, the first impression, or as some astrologers say, the mask you wear for the world, but I hate that concept. You'll never hear me say that. How you present yourself is your first house energy. We'll have episodes that talk way more about your rising sign, but your first house is the relationship you have to yourself. You, your needs, your wants, your desires. Anytime a planet is visiting your first house, it is focusing that energy upon you, highlighting you, what you want, attracting and magnetizing things to you. So the first house is how other people see you, how other people relate to you, the image, the identity, the avatar that you are projecting. Think of it when you go to a party and someone rolls up into valet. They roll up in a Ferrari, they roll up in a Jeep, they roll up in a motorcycle. Each person has a different identity, a different brand that they're showing up to the party with. That is your rising sign. You are showing up to the party of Earth School in a form, in a vessel, in a vehicle of one of the 12 zodiac signs. And this dictates the rest of your chart, like I mentioned, is the anchor of your chart. So as you meet people, you are meeting their rising sign. Then we move into the second house. The second house is our money house. So it deals with the things that we value, that we prioritize, and sometimes the things that we love. It is your income, it is your budgets, your material possessions, the things that you hold dear. And when it comes to relationships, it's any of the relationships that tie us or connect us financially to another person. So of course, it could be financial advisors, it could be CPAs, it could be people that benefit from you financially, like clients or your children. But anyone that you are exchanging money with, that you are being paid by, that you are spending money on, that you value and prioritize, those relationships can show up in the second house. It's really that energy of like assets and resources and exchanging of this kind of energy. The material world, your material possessions. If you have a whole lot of planets in the second house, we know that you're going to love money. You're going to love spending money, making money, buying things. This is important to understand again in our relationships. Most of our partnerships, we fight about money, just like the example I gave you at the beginning of today's episode. It is more than likely that you and your partner have a different rising sign and therefore have a different zodiac sign when it comes to your second house. So you each put on different colored glasses when you are talking about money, what you value, what you want to spend your money on. And this is so helpful to understand because it can solve so many of the problems in our partnerships. Instead of getting mad, it's like, oh yeah, you just look at money this way. And we can balance that, the best of both worlds. Now I'm going to give you a little caveat or a little exception to this rule. Just because you have the same rising sign as someone, yes, you are going to view all the areas of life in the exact same way, in the exact same lens. So it is fun when you meet someone with the exact same rising sign as you because immediately you will just click. You will see life through that same exact zodiac lens in all 12 houses. But this doesn't mean you're automatically going to get along. I'm going to use my partnership as an example. We are both Scorpio risings. So ultimately, we both have Sagittarius, the zodiac sign that follows Scorpio, in our second house, which would make both of us very excessive when we spend our money, liking to go big or go home. That energy of Sagittarius, bold, passionate, wanting to do what we want to do with our money, right? Sagittarius does not want to be told what to do or restricted in any way. However, I personally have challenging planets in my second house. I have Saturn, I have Uranus, and he, on the other hand, has all the exciting planets. He's got Jupiter, he's got the sun, he's got Neptune, all these amazing planets that help him expand and love money and spend a lot of money and value luxurious over the top things. Where if I do that, Saturn is in my second house and kicks my butt. So just because you have the same rising sign doesn't necessarily mean it's always going to be easy, because you have other energetic influences and lessons to learn in each of these houses. So I just want to bring that up right off the bat. But overall, looking at someone's second house as the lens, the vibe, the energetic perspective based on the zodiac sign that they're going to view money through. And the relationships tied to that is any relationships that have money or resources or asset exchange, or relationships that you value and prioritize. Now let's go into the third house. The third house is the house of communication, transportation, and connection. So it's your mind, speaking, expressing, communicating, sharing, learning, educating, connecting with people in networking groups. Now, when it comes to relationships specifically, the relationships found in our third house are our siblings, our networking groups, the people in our local community, like our neighbors. So when you are relating to these type of people in your life, you're having relationships with these people, you're going to do that in a way that is the zodiac energy of your third house. So let's use mine for example. I have Capricorn in the third house. Capricorn is very serious, disciplined, committed, structured, stoic. So when I'm connecting at networking groups, I'm going to go in wanting to present myself as an authority. I'm going to be a little bit more reserved. I'm going to be a little bit more rigid, right? Like kind of that Capricorn resting bitch face. Like that's how I'm showing up when I'm networking or connecting with people or with my neighbors. They get the Capricorn version of me. And with my siblings, I'm the one who's very much like structured and disciplined and rule following. And this is what we need to do. I'm the oldest sibling. So your third house, the relationships connected to the third house, you show up under that zodiac energetic influence, and it rules over your mind, communication, transportation, all of those things. Moving into your fourth house. The fourth house is our house of home and family. So of course, when it comes to our relationships, it's going to be the relationships we have with our family. But it's deeper than that. It's not just our family, our immediate family. It is the family that we were born into. And not just in this lifetime, it deals a lot with ancestors, ancestral lineage, your childhood, but also then the family you create later in life. That is friends that become family, your lens, your vibe, your view, your perspective of family. So the zodiac energy that rules your fourth house is how you're energetically going to want to relate or have that energetic dynamic within your family unit. And because it rules home, property, real estate, all of that, the energy you need within your home environment with the people that you live with on a daily basis. Now, this, of course, can be something that when you are in partnership with people or when you are together with your family or live under the same roof as other people, to understand in your birth chart versus their birth chart. Because they may want and need a different type of environment within the home to feel safe and secure, the type of energy they want in their sanctuary, or the energy that they need to feel like you're family to them. This is because, again, the zodiac sign that rules the fourth house. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down and you want more and you're like, okay, but what does it mean if I'm a Cancer and my partner's a Capricorn? Like, how do we blend that? We're going to have, like I said, an entire episode breaking down each house and the zodiac signs within each house. So don't worry, hit subscribe, come back. We got a lot more to talk about. Again, it is so layered. And this is also what I do in compatibility sessions, where we break down two people's charts and help them understand how to harmonize their energy because most of the time we are different and we energetically have different views and perspectives on all of these areas of life. So let's move on to the fifth house. The fifth house is my favorite house in our birth chart because you can consider it the fun house. It's all the things that light you up, that keep you in the present moment, that you can get lost in time doing. It is your passion projects, your creative projects. It is your romantic dating life, your dating style, what you find romantic. It is your business, your entrepreneurship energy. It deals with children and your inner child. And most importantly, for fun, what you like to do for hobbies, entertainment, games, play, joy. So the fun house, the fifth house, the zodiac sign that is in your fifth house is the color glasses, the lens, the vibe, the perspective that you're going to have fun through, to have fun with. It's going to be the lens and the vibe that you need when you're dating somebody, the way in which you feel romanticized in your partnerships. And even if you're in long term relationships, you still have a dating life to continue to hold that partnership with the spark and the joy and the excitement and to keep it going. But again, that might look really differently between you and another person. Now, the relationship specifically tied to the fifth house, when planets come to visit or you're looking at your fifth house, it is the relationship you have with your children, the way in which you parent your children, the way in which you connect to your own inner child. It's the relationships that tie you and connect you to your creative projects, whether it's someone who's mentoring or helping you. Maybe it's a publishing company as your creative project is a book that you're trying to put out into the world. It is also people that you like to have fun with. So who are the people that you go play a sport with, that you go to concerts with, that you literally just feel like so much joy with? So the people that you participate in hobbies and entertainment with. So the fifth house is such a fun house. And I always say, if you're going through a sluggish time in your life and you're really just needing like a pick me up or a pep in your step, go to the energy of your fifth house. Go tap into that zodiac energy because it will bring your spark alive. It is the house of Leo. It is the house ruled by the sun. So if you need some heat and vitality and you want to roar and be regal and shine like the queen or king that you are, you must tap into that fifth house energy in your life. Now, the sixth house, we flip energies. The sixth house, it's the boring house. It's the mundane house. It's your areas of life, of your day-to-day habits, your health, your wellness, your routines, your work-life balance, your sleep schedule, all of the things that you got to get done in your day-to-day. The zodiac sign that rules that house for you is the zodiac energy that you need to embrace and embody for optimal wellness. When I'm doing one-on-one readings with people, I always go to that sixth house because I'm like, hey, first of all, let's look at the element. That is the element that you need for a little bit more vitality in your life. Let's look at that zodiac sign. That's how you're supposed to navigate your day to day. For example, if you have a Libra in your sixth house, you're meant to have balance in your routines, not all in doing some crazy diet, not staying up all night and then sleeping on the weekends. You're meant to have balance and harmony, equilibrium in your habits, your wellness, your routines. But let's say you have Sagittarius in the sixth house. You're meant to live your life pants on fire, no routine, no structure, no schedule, go with the flow, follow your heart, see what works. So it really depends on the energy. And of course, in relationships, this can be very different. If your partner likes to get up early, they got a structure, they got a routine, they cannot break out of their habit, they may have an earth sign in the sixth house where you might have that fire sign where you're like, I wake up, I see what happens. I don't know what I'm going to feel. I definitely can't make a plan. If I make a plan, I'm going way off track. So this is great in partnerships, especially when you're living together or even in work environments. The relationships connected to the sixth house deals a lot with coworkers or people that you interact with on a daily basis that help you get through your day to day. So it could be people like personal trainers, therapists, dietitians, nutritionists, doctors, who are people that help you with your health and wellness, but also people that you interact with day to day. So again, your coworkers, the lady at the grocery store, your bosses, other entrepreneurs that you connect with on a regular basis. And a fun fact, pets are connected to our sixth house as well. So if you have any pets, how you energetically connect to your pet can be found in the sixth house energy as well. And overall, the sixth house is really our house of like service, like how we can show up in the world. So anyone that is of service to you or that you are in service to, this is why the sixth house deals with work and coworkers, is connected and tied to your sixth house. Now we are halfway done with your chart. We have done the first house to the sixth house, the bottom part of your chart. When you look at your chart, there is that horizontal line through the center of your chart. The first through the sixth house are below that line. The seventh through the 12th house are above that line. And that line is symbolically the horizon at the moment of your birth. The first through sixth house, the houses or areas of life that we just discussed below that horizon line are all connected to you personally, how you view money, your family, your home environment, your health, your joy. Once we get to the seventh house and we're halfway through the chart, now each of these houses, each of these areas of life are going to be connected to the outside world, to people and environments outside of you that connects you to Earth School. So let's get into it, starting with the seventh house. The seventh house is opposite the first house. If the first house was me, the seventh house is we. The seventh house is your relationship house. And of course, we've been talking about relationships in each house, but the seventh house are those relationships that intimately and deeply connect you to another person long term, that you are truly blending your energy with, that you are building a collaboration, a partnership with for the long term. So yes, it deals with marriage, who you ultimately might have that long-term commitment to, but it also deals with business partners, people that you go into business with. That's not just like a 1-month thing. It deals with collaborations, people that you're collaborating or building something with. It deals with long-term friendships, people that you've known for a long time, like they practically could be your spouse, or they may actually know more than your spouse. And it deals with open enemies, people that you have to deal with, but that you cannot stand. You know, those people that just like won't leave your life and you just have to deal with them. Yeah, that can be found in the seventh house as well. So when you are looking at the zodiac sign, the energy, the lens of your seventh house, it's the energy that you need within the partnership. Does not necessarily mean you need that zodiac sign in that person. So for example, if it is Scorpio, that doesn't necessarily mean you need a Scorpio sun. Otherwise, you can't marry them or be in a business relationship with them. It just means that energetically, the partnership must have the vibe, the lens, the feeling of that zodiac sign. And since we all have all 12 zodiac signs in our birth chart, and as a relational astrologer, I'm going to be teaching you and helping you learn and understand how you personally can tap into these 12 different energetic aspects of yourself. You have the ability to show up in partnership, in relationships with the people that you're connecting to based on what they need energetically in your partnership. Now, for example, you may have a lot of planets in Scorpio, but you're not a sun Scorpio. That might work out really well. If you think about it energetically, if the first house is me, the energy I'm projecting out into the world is my identity, it's my avatar. The zodiac sign opposite, seventh house, opposite in the sky, is the energy I would need to balance me out. The yin to my yang, right? And that's why the seventh house is going to be an energy that is so different from who you are. This is a part of building relationships with people, is blending and harmonizing our energies. I hope this is starting to click and lock and make sense, and we'll talk so much more about the seventh house. Now, moving on to the eighth house. The eighth house is that taboo house, the spaces of our life that are so uncomfortable, we do not want to talk about, we do not want to dive in, we'd rather just shove it under a rug or tuck it away in the closet. So think of all the topics and areas of your life that you are not supposed to talk about at the dining room table, definitely not in front of strangers, and that make you feel a little uncomfortable. So we are talking about your fears, deep traumas, your vulnerabilities. We're talking about your ability to be intimate with another person, to build that deeper level of connection. Your sex life, how you approach it, what do you want, what do you desire? And then we're looking at financial aspects, right? Sometimes money is really uncomfortable to talk about, but it's even more uncomfortable to talk about when it connects us and ties us to another person. Either we are responsible and indebted to someone financially, whether that's a credit card, a car loan, a mortgage, a partner, a friend that we loan money from, or it's uncomfortable to talk about money when it's owed to you. So asking someone to pay you, asking someone to compensate you, having conversations in a marriage around money, especially if your partner's the breadwinner. All of these topics are contained in the eighth house. Taxes, debts, loans, inheritances, wills, those are so uncomfortable to talk about. Death is by the 8th house. So when it comes to the relationships in our life found within the 8th house, it's people that we relate to in a financial way. So the bank, your banker that you go in and see when you need to talk to them about a loan or about your savings account. It deals with people who invest in you, like your clients. Maybe it's a business partner that brings to the table the assets, the resources, the wealth in order to fund and start your business. That's going to be an uncomfortable relationship, right? Maybe it is your marriage partner and how you're connected financially to that person. It deals a lot with your CPAs, those taxes, tax preparers, tax lawyers, people who help write your wills or deal with inheritances. And it deals with your romantic partners, the ones that you are intimate with on a deeper level. And it also deals with healers, trauma therapists, people that help you energetically overcome fears and wounds and vulnerabilities. So the most uncomfortable relationships in our life will be found in the 8th house. As a Scorpio rising, these are topics I love to talk about. How you energetically view and handle these uncomfortable areas of life is, again, going to be dependent upon the rising sign that rules that you energetically view this area of life through. Now we move on to the 9th house. The 9th house is our higher conscious mind. We're opposite in the sky. We had that 3rd house. Remember, the 3rd house was like how we communicate, our mental health, how we speak, express, connect, travel, like those little local networks, your neighbors, your siblings. The 9th house, opposite in the sky, is your higher conscious mind. So you can think of the 3rd house, the lower conscious mind, of like, oh, I know that because I read it in the book. It's data, facts that you learned from reading, listening, going to school. Somebody told you. The 9th house is the higher conscious mind. It is your street smarts. It is your wisdom, your knowledge that you gain by living here on Earth School. You know it to be true because you saw it with your very own eyes. The 3rd house would be like, I know there's 3 pyramids in Egypt. I read it in a book. The 9th house is, I know there's 3 pyramids in Egypt because I wandered through the desert and I saw them. I came across them. So all of your lived experiences, your bucket list, your ability to absorb knowledge, that is all your 9th house. And the 9th house deals with our perspective of life, our beliefs, our lens that we gain because of our lived experiences. So the 9th house can be where we change our political affiliation, we change our religious beliefs, we change our view on institutions like schooling or housing or even the country that we want to live in because of our lived experience, because we're evolving, we're expanding, we're growing, we're understanding more about ourselves and the world around us. The 9th house deals with this ability to expand, like I said, your bucket list, but foreign lands, foreign cultures, traveling, doing things that get you out of your comfort zone. So the relationships connected to the 9th house are your mentors, the people that teach you things, the people who expand you, that push you beyond your horizons, like the monk living in the Himalayas, or your favorite religious leader, or the people you follow on YouTube that inspire you. The 9th house also deals a lot with the people that you visit. If you have family in other countries like I do, Cancer is my 9th house. So the energy of my view of long distance travel is family. Cancer rules family. And my family lives in another country. And this also applies to my mom, who moved to another country to start a family, my brother and I, for her husband. So it's really interesting when we look at this 9th house. I can definitely see how people feel about travel. And when we're in partnership with someone, one person may just want to stay at home and they do not want to get out of their comfort zone. Let's say they have Capricorn in the 9th house and their partner has Sagittarius. And they're like, oh my gosh, I want to get on one of those cruises that has a new destination every other day. And I'd be so happy having a new home every single day. So it's really interesting looking at the 9th house. But this was in the example that I gave you at the beginning of today's podcast. When you get together with family members and they have such different beliefs, such different perspectives, but they have different lived experience. And how they acquire that lived experience, how willing they are to gain more wisdom and more knowledge is going to be dependent upon the zodiac sign, the energy of their 9th house. Now, moving on to the 10th house. The 10th house is your career house, and you can see it at the tippy top of your chart. So think of it this way: at the moment of your birth, That constellation, that zodiac sign was at the noon hour. You are in the center of that circle. And so, right now, at this exact moment, I know the sun is at the 10th house area of the sky because it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And when we are lost and confused in our life, we don't know what to do as a soul, what do? We look up. We look up at God and we say, why is this happening? What am I supposed to do? And we are praying and we're looking straight up. We don't look down to the left and go, what am I supposed to do? Tell me what to do. We look up. That is your 10th house. It is your purpose. It is your mission. It is your legacy. It is what you are meant to be known for in this lifetime. You are meant to embrace and step into that zodiac energy. That is your purpose. Now, that is also your career, your reputation, your title, what you're known for. So for me, for example, I have Leo in the 10th house. So I am meant to shine and be on a stage and be on a platform and lead people as the lion. And it rules entertainment and being creative. And a lot of people with Scorpio rising placements have this fame element because their purpose in life is to shine bright. So, definitely in business astrology, we look often to your 10th house, your midheaven, for how you're supposed to show up in your professional life and in your business and how you're supposed to be seen by other people in that professional light. When it comes to relationships in our life, the 10th house is going to symbolize a little bit of clients that you work with, but most importantly, like bosses, authority figures. It deals with people who are very paternal in your life that help you achieve and succeed and get to the next level, not just in the mentorship way of the ninth house, but in a like driven, like get you there. So it could be, for example, like people that you meet at a networking event and they take you under their wing and they work for this amazing company and they vouch for you and they get you an interview. And then all of a sudden you start at that company and then you're able to climb the ladder and get that title or that profession that you've been desiring for a really long time. Those are the type of relationships connected to the 10th house. Then we move on to the 11th house. The 11th house is friendship, community, and tribe. But also, the 11th house connects you to the future, your dreams, your goals, your wishes, your aspirations. It is the house of moving forward onto the next thing. And oftentimes we do that within tribe, or our friendship, our community, and tribe helps us achieve and reach our goals. Especially if you're an entrepreneur, this is how you build community, loyal fans, loyal followers that will stick it out with you. This is where we have shared goals, shared hobbies, shared interests with a community of people. So this could be like all the moms at your child's school. It could be all the people in your profession that you go out with drinks for happy hour. It could be the people that you connect with because of your love for gardening or holistic health. Who are those like-minded people that you can vibe with? And it also deals with friendships. So oftentimes I see when planets come to visit your 11th house that this is when friendships can either like skyrocket, go to the next level, like if a friend becomes a romantic partner, or if you have friendship fallouts, friendship breakouts. For example, if Saturn comes here or the South Node comes here and you're meant to clear out your friendship circle and start new. So it's interesting to know within our chart when this area of life is activated, when friendship relationships may shift a little bit, but it also shows us energetically how you want to connect with other people. Let's say, for example, you have Pisces in your 11th house. You connect in friendship and tribe with people who are very spiritual because Pisces is that energy of Jesus and compassion and empathy and forgiveness. And that's the type of energy you want to be around that someone needs to possess in order for you to call and consider them a friend. Or, for example, let's use the opposite energy as an example. Maybe it's Virgo, like myself. So I love to be around people that are of service, that also like to give, but are getting things done. They're very rational and practical. And when we hang out, they got a to-do list, they'll plan things, like they're on the go, they're on the move. So knowing the 11th house energy is going to help you understand what you're looking for in friendships. And then we wrap up with the 12th house. The 12th house is our final house. So it symbolizes our karma, ending of cycles, resting, cleansing, purging, releasing. And the 12th house really deals with all the things behind the scenes, the unseen spaces of life. So it deals with our subconscious, our mindset, that program that's running in the background, the stories that we're telling ourselves, like those limiting beliefs, your mental health overall. It deals also with your energetic health. Your spirituality, your faith, your beliefs, your chakras, your auras, all of that is programming energetic vibration beyond the surface, hidden from sight, but still exists. The 12th house also deals with our emotions. So you can see your 12th house is opposite your 6th house. Remember, the 6th house was the health house? Well, the 12th house is also our health house. It's just the parts of us that are unseen that affect our physical health. They go back and forth. Now, the 12th house deals with, in society, institutions that are hidden away: jails, prisons, long-term care facilities, hospitals. So if you have a lot of planets here, these may be professions or areas of life that you are closely connected to, whether you work there or you have a lot of people in these areas of life. That could be something as well. The relationships connected to the 12th house are going to be those healers. Again, your therapists, energy workers, Reiki practitioners, sound bowl therapists, people that you are connected to from your faith, your belief, your spiritual practices. And it also deals with God and source, your connection to the divine, your connection to your higher self, the connection that you have to your angels and your spirit guides. The relationships you have with all of those beings is in your 12th house. And how you connect is going to be based on that zodiac sign again. Now, because the 12th house is also the karmic house and the unseen spaces, this can be karmic relationships, karmic patterns. In my partnership, I have my Venus in the 12th house, the karmic house, which is relationships. And my partner has his Mars in the 12th house. And so his Mars is on top of my Venus, which is a very fated soulmate connection, no matter where it is in the chart. But we have both of it in the 12th house. So we know that we are karmically connected. We've had many past lives together, and that we are here in this lifetime to break that cycle, the 12th house, and to remove these karmic patterns from our energetic cords of our relationship. So 12th house can definitely show us karmic partners. It also can show us secret love affairs because, again, it's anything that's going on behind the scenes. Now, it doesn't mean if you have planets there that you're going to have these secret love affairs, but depending on the zodiac energy, I can usually pick apart the people that are most likely to have these secret rendezvous. But I'll only tell you if you want to know. So the 12th house overall, to sum it up, is all the hidden connections and the areas of life that connect us with our source and our spirituality, and people who are healers to help us get through the unseen spaces of life. And that sums up all 12 of our houses. But it's pretty fascinating, right? That you can take any single area of your life and it's going to fall into one of these 12 houses. Now, they are, again, so much deeper and so much more layered and so much more complex. I literally gave you the cliff notes, but you could literally tell me anything about your life. And I would say, oh, that is connected to the 8th house. Oh, that is connected to the 3rd house. And so there is a chart that I will post over on my Instagram that you can go look at that dives deeper into all of the 12 houses. There is so much more to it. And again, we will come back and have an episode on each house singularly and going through all 12 zodiac signs within that house specifically. So those will be really fun episodes to record and to help you understand astrology, yourself, and relationships so much more. And as far as your relationships, I hope this episode is super helpful in getting you to see that because of your rising sign, again, it is the most important area of your chart. It is the anchor of your chart. And knowing someone's rising sign is automatically going to help you understand the lens, the vibe, the view, the color glasses that they are going to look at each one of these 12 areas of life through. Because the minute you know their rising sign is the same exact moment you know which zodiac sign rules each of their areas of life. And then you can start relating better to them immediately because you just understand what they're seeing and how they're seeing it. So after you're done with this episode, I would love for you to pop over to my TikTok or my Instagram and let me know your rising sign. I am always so curious to see who is coming into my orbit, into my world. I tend to attract a lot of Scorpio risings. I'm a Scorpio rising. My partner's a Scorpio rising. My mother's a Scorpio rising. My aunt is a Scorpio rising. And fun fact, all 4 of us were together this summer and we traveled to Colorado for my brother's wedding. And then we traveled to Savannah together and we hung out for 3 weeks straight. And because all 4 of us were Scorpio risings, we were on such a vibe. Like we like to have the same routines. We kind of eat the same thing. We kind of have the same views and perspectives, the same way of laughing and joking and relating and connecting. And It was just so much fun. I've never been around 4 Scorpio risings all at the same time. And like maybe in the future, as we grow our astro family, we should do little Zoom meetings with each rising sign so you can vibe out with all the people who are just very similar to you. In our Telegram channel, in our private chat that we have going on, I love seeing people connect with similar rising signs. They have obviously similar planetary transits going on in the same areas of their life. They relate because they understand each other like automatically. Like, oh, I just love knowing people's rising signs. So pop over on TikTok, pop over on IG, find the post for this specific episode. Let me know your rising sign so I know what color glasses you are wearing in each of the areas of your life. And before we end today's episode, let's dive into what's in our orbit, the part of each episode where I let you know what is going on in our astro family, what we got vibing, what is happening, so you can reach out and grab it if you so choose. First of all, we are deep diving into 2025 in our astro forecast sessions. I have a few left for 2024. If you can't get into my calendar before the end of the year, it's okay. I'll be back to doing readings on January 20th. So go pop in, claim your spot. Even if we talk about 2025 in January or February, don't worry. Q1 of 2025 is going to be wild. I was just talking to someone yesterday in their astro forecast reading where I was saying, I don't want you to make any decisions. I literally just want you to let the chips of life fall where they may, because it's going to be like you're on a highway and there's like an alert that there's a severe thunderstorm warning and there's a tornado. And you're like, oh no, I can make it. I can outrun the tornado. I'm going to keep going. It's probably not even that bad. And you literally start driving and all of a sudden it's downpouring and you can't see anything and it's so windy and your car's whipping around. And then eventually you're forced to pull over at an underpass and you're like, this is so scary. I should have like got off way long time ago at the gas station where I'd be having a snack and chilling inside a building. But here I am because I forced my way forward. We don't want to do that in Q1 of 2025. We want to instead get off the highway of life, pull over, let the storm pass, let it rearrange some things. And then when we get back in the car, there might be a tree down in our path. And it's like, that's cool. I'll go a different route to my destination. This route ends up taking you on the most beautiful scenic outlook where you watch the most beautiful sunset. And during that sunset, you got this epiphany, this download, this inspiration for your next business idea. And it was all meant to be because you didn't force your way forward. So this is what we're talking about in our astro forecast readings, helping you navigate that so you know when to hit the gas pedal and when to back up based on your own birth chart. The other thing in the orbit that you can always reach out and grab is mini sessions if you need to do a rectification chart where we're trying to figure out what time you were born so you know your rising sign. We can dive into that. Or if you want to do a compatibility session where we look at your rising sign compared to the rising sign of someone you're in a partnership with and help each one of you understand the lens, the view, the vibe that you look at all 12 of these areas of life through, I would love to do that. They are some of my favorite readings to do, are these compatibility sessions. We do them for business partners, parents and children. We do them for romantic couples and friends sometimes too, just as a fun little girls' weekend. And the last thing, we've got our 2025 Astrology Alchemy Journal in hard copy. She's officially here. She is beautiful. We added more pages this year, so it's the most pages we've ever had. There's lots of new additions. You're absolutely going to love it if you've been getting the copies previously. And officially, we have a PDF version. So if you're like, hey, I want to save some pennies, I'll just get the PDF version and print it out myself. You can do that. If you live far away and you don't want to pay for shipping, or if you're like, I want it right now, you can get the PDF version. So again, all of that is in the description box. I want to thank you so much for joining me in today's episode. Please let me know what you think. Thank you for being a part of our Astro family. Hopefully I'll connect with you more on Telegram and our Astro weather report. And until next time, may the stars keep guiding you on your path. Thank you so much for tuning in today and spending some of your magical minutes on Earth with me. Find me on Instagram or TikTok at The Relational Astrologer, where we connect daily and vote on future episode topics. If today's episode offered new insights, make sure you subscribe. And if you're finding value here, consider leaving a review. It helps others seeking harmony in their relationship find us too. And don't forget, as my thank you for helping me spread this mission, every review or share of an episode enters you into our monthly giveaway for a free 30-minute reading with me. To participate, just leave a review or share an episode to your social media, take a screenshot, and email it to me at therelationalastrologer@gmail.com. Every reviewer will receive a free PDF relationship astrology guide.
and one lucky winner each month will receive a 30-minute personal astrology session. I'll announce the winner on Instagram on the first of every month. So stay tuned and enter as many times as you desire. Thank you so much for being a part of my Astro family. I'm so grateful you came into my orbit.